Welcome to StopFake, the place where we debunk disinformation about Ukraine and set the record straight. I'm Irena Chalupa, and I'm happy to host this week's edition. Among the fakes this week we present, Ukrainian Prime Minister's slip of the tongue becomes a promise to steal. Is the Washington Post really advocating for all aid to Ukraine to be cut? And how welcome are Russian bikers in Europe? All that in this week's edition of Stop Fake News. So, let's get to it. Russia's official government newspaper, Российская газета, published a news story claiming that Ukraine's new Prime Minister, Volodymyr Groysman, promised to steal on the Ukrainian border. The publication used Groysman's statement about fighting smuggling and contraband along the Ukrainian border in Transcarpathia as proof of his intentions. What actually happened is that Groysman quite literally had a slip of the tongue and pronounced one letter incorrectly. Instead of saying "poklasty kraj," which means to end, he uttered "pokrasty kraj," a phrase which makes absolutely no sense. However, in Ukrainian, the word "pokrasty" means to steal. Groysman immediately corrected himself and used the correct word, "poklasty." Российская газета, however, fails to mention this and completely ignores the rest of Groysman's statement about fighting contraband and tax evasion. One letter was all that Российская газета needed to change the entire sense of Groysman's statement and to declare the Ukrainian Prime Minister a potential thief. Российская газета continued to promote fakes when earlier this month it published a story claiming that the respected American newspaper, The Washington Post, was calling for a stop of all financial assistance to Ukraine. The article that Российская газета refers to is an opinion piece entitled "How Western Aid Enables Graft Addiction in Ukraine." It was published on the Post's politics blog called The Monkey Cage, whose aim, according to its editors, is to make some sense of the circus that is politics. Российская газета claims that the article calls for all financial assistance to Ukraine to be suspended until all corrupt government officials are removed from power. This claim is completely inaccurate. The authors of the blog, political risk consultant Neil Abrams and University of California at Berkeley political science professor Stephen Fish, write that international organizations providing financial assistance to Ukraine face two options. I quote, "The first is to resume assistance in the event that the new government puts forward a reform plan and passes some legislation recommended by donors. This is the approach the West has followed in the past. The other option is to refrain from resuming aid until the coming to power of a truly new leadership that excludes most people with previous high-level government experience, save for reputable technocrats such as Abramovičius, former finance minister Natalie Yaresko, and central bank chief Valeria Gontareva." End quote. The Washington Post did not call for Ukraine aid to be cut, nor did the authors of the Monkey Cage blog. Российская газета selected only one point from the blog, deliberately omitting the rest of the text. On May 9th, Russia celebrated Victory Day, the defeat of Nazi Germany in World War II. Over the last 2 years, to commemorate this anniversary, the pro-Kremlin biker club called the Night Wolves have ridden their motorcycles, often four-wheelers, from Moscow to Berlin to lay flowers at monuments to Soviet soldiers. According to numerous Russian sites, the Night Wolves had a less than welcome reception in the capital of the Czech Republic, Prague, where demonstrators gathered to protest against the bikers' victory ride. Russian sites report that the center of Prague was lined with Ukrainian activists who tried to prevent the bikers from completing their plan. Russian national channel Russia 24's coverage of the Night Wolves' ride through Prague claims that only Ukrainians protested against the bikers, as they only spoke Ukrainian amongst themselves and refused to speak to journalists with Russia 24 logos on their microphones. The report cuts only to pictures of demonstrators with Ukrainian flags and demonstrators refusing to speak with Russia 24. Local Czech media saw and reported a somewhat different picture, as the protest action was a Czech initiative in which many people took part, amongst them Ukrainians. The Czech news site Novinky.cz reported that anti-biker demonstrators carried Czech, American, Ukrainian, EU and NATO flags, as well as signs reading "Czechs know well what friendship with Russian rulers means" and "Czech Republic looks to the West, not to a Russian Union." Among the demonstrators protesting the Night Wolves' riot was Jaromír Štětina, a Czech member of the European Parliament, who called the bikers' riot a part of the hybrid war that Russia is conducting against Europe. The Czech information site iDnes.cz reported that the demonstration against the Night Wolves was organized by the pro-democracy Kaputin coalition and the Czech anti-Kremlin propaganda activist group called the East European Information Center. One of the founders of this information center is Tomasz Peczyński, who organized the Prague Maidan, a series of protests against the regime and policies of Vladimir Putin and in support of Ukraine. The Night Wolves are a pro-Kremlin biker club whose leader, Alexander Zaldostanov, has been honored by Russian President Vladimir Putin. Both Zaldostanov and the Night Wolves Club are currently on Western sanctions lists. That's it for this week. Our video digest only presents a small amount of the fakes we debunk every week. You can find much more dissected information on the StopFake website. Be vigilant, look out for fakes, and if you spot any disinformation about Ukraine, forward it to us for a truth autopsy. I'm Irena Chalupa, and this is StopFake. Thanks for watching.